everyone, I am Nashida Rondato, and together with my partner, Dela Torre, we are one of the reporters for today. So, we are still on assessment learning. We are now on chapter 6, which is the item analysis and validation, which we're going to discuss to you. Okay, we are the reporters. Okay, let's proceed, or let's tackle first the item analysis, which is the parts that I'm going to explain to you. While the validation will well explained by Miss Dela Torre. But before that, let's see first the objectives of our lesson. So these are the objectives. First is explain the meaning of the item analysis, item difficulty, discrimination index or power. Second, determine the validity and reliability of a given items. Third is determine the quality of a test item by its difficulty index or discrimination index and probability of options for a selected response test. Okay, when you hear the word item analysis, what comes in your mind? So, anyone? Okay, let's talk about the item analysis. Last meeting, it's already discussed how to make a quiz or how to make a quizzes or test, right? Okay, so this time, of course, as an effective teacher, we need to ask ourselves, or after the quiz, after each quiz that we're given, as an effective teacher, we need to ask ourselves kung ang mga quiz ba yun na ating binigay sa mga student natin ay effective pa, or if that quiz helped them to enhance their skills, or to see how questions is performing, we need to under through item analysis. Okay, so let's see first the definition of this item analysis. Okay, in this definition, item analysis is the act of or process of analyzing the student's response to individual exam or test questions with the intention of evaluating the quality of the test. It is also an important tool to uphold test effectiveness and fairness. Okay, so like what I've said earlier, para ma-evaluate yung test na binigay natin. And also, from the word itself, class, that item analysis, item means that the total of the items. For example, 60 over 60 means that the test is 60 items, while analysis is from the word analyze, means item analysis is analyzing that items or the test that you give if effective to your students. So by analyzing means we're going to examine the test, or we're going to examine the test if it is too hard, if it is too difficult to them, or too easy to them. So in short, that item analysis is to assess the quality of the test. Kumbaga, iti-test natin yung quizzes na binigay natin. Kasi diba sometimes we're given to test na dapat hindi lang tayo basta-basta na ay okay na yan kasi nakapagbigay na ako ng quizzes, or ang importante tapos na sila. So the question is, effective ba yun, or nakasagot ba sila? Kasi minsan sa paggawa ng test is as a teacher, or nobody's perfect, na hindi talaga maiwasan na nagkakamali. As we can see, sometimes nagkakaroon ng may nado-double na questions, or may nagkakamali, or also ang pinakamalala is minsan dun sa test is may questions na totally not related with that lesson, which is student will get confused of paano yun napunta doon yung ganong question. So it is really important for us as a future educator, or to be an effective teacher, na we need to analyze each item for us to evaluate our test and the learning of our students. Okay, so the question is, tanong naman is, ba't pa kailangan ng itong item analysis? So, why we need this item analysis? Or what really the effect of this process, which is the item analysis? So, there are a lot of difference as we go on to these lessons. We will see the benefits of this item analysis. So, we have here some benefits. Okay, so first, to see the effective of the test. Okay, so like what I've said earlier class, that to see if the test that you give is effective to them. For example, kung nakasagot sila, let's say the test is very easy, nakasagot silang lahat sa test, sasabihin ng mo na as a teacher, wow, natutunan nila ako kasi napakadali lang silang sumagot or lahat sila naka-perfect, ganyan. But the question is, na-enhance ba yung student or na-enhance ba yung skills niya? So, kumbaga, tanungin mo yung sarili mo kung kung masyadong madali, means hindi sila as in na-enhance yung skills nila. So, kung masyado namang mahirap, too difficult, of course, something that pwedeng may mali doon sa questions mo, which is yun yung one of the purpose na kailangan mag-item analysis para itama yung mali. Improving the test item. So, as we go on to this process of item analysis, of course, as much as possible, na-improve natin yung test na ginagawa natin. As we go on to this process, natatama natin yung mali na nagagawa natin doon sa test na yun. For example, ngayon sabi ko, may na-repeat na questions or may misleading questions. Okay, so, eliminate misleading items. So, like what I've said, that kailangan natin eliminate yung mga questions na nasama, which is not related, or pwede rin nga yung hindi pa na-discuss din, na dagdag sa questions. So, we have here the increase instructor skills in a task construction. So, in this item analysis, hindi lang positive vibes sa student, of course, pati rin sa ating na mga future teacher or sa teacher. So, as habang ginagawa natin ito, is mas nag-i-improve din yung skills natin na sa paggawa ng isang test. Kasi nga, while we're checking with the mistake, sabi nga sa kasabihan, mistake is the best teacher. So, as we go on, mas natututunan natin na makagawa ng mas maayos at mas productive na task. So, it provides useful information for class discussion of the test. Yes, of course, it provides information that it will going to analyze the whole questions of the test. It provides data which helps students improve their learning. Okay, so like what I've said, that hindi lang tayo na teacher ang mag-improve or ma-enhancing skills. Of course, the students ay ma-improve yung learning nila. For example, hindi as in masyadong madali yung test, pero hindi rin naman masyadong mahirap. Kumbaga, na-challenge lang sila, which is improve their learning. It provides insight and skills that lead to a preparation for a better test in the future. So, as tayo na mga student, which is future educator, it is important na as early as now is natututunan na natin itong ganito, like this item analysis, kasi in the future mas lalo tayong na-enhance, mas nagiging better in the future. So, kumbaga as early, marami na tayong natututunan. Okay, so that's for the benefits of that item analysis. Okay, so how to conduct item analysis? What are the process or steps in conducting item analysis? So, paano ba ito ginagawa, itong item analysis sa tsabang kukunin natin yung mga test or kukolektahin natin yung test and then titingnan yung highest. Pag maraming highest, automatic, effective na yun. Ganun ba? Of course not. Of course not, class. So, this item analysis have a process, or the step-by-step process, which is we're going to explain. So, hindi to siya madali na madaling i-check lang na kumbaga i-check lang, akin na yung test, ito, pasado tong test na to. So, mayroon siyang process or steps. So, these are the steps. Steps in conducting item analysis. First, check and records the test score. Of course, pag makuha mo na yung test, of course, you're going to check first, of course. Check, then records the test of the score. And then, for the step number 2 is arrange the paper from the highest to lowest score of the test. So, yung iba naman class is, yung ibang teacher, as I observe, is, of course, pag ipapasa na yung papel, is sasabihin na, okay, so, for example, 60 items, din sasabihin is, okay, so, all 60 pass in front, all 59, all 58, parang ipasunod-sunod na niya. In that way, pag nakuha na niya yung papel is, or the test is, magkakasunod na, which is, kumbaga, na-direct na yung step 1 at saka step 2, which is one of the strategy of a teacher. Parang, kumbaga, hindi na siya mahirapan. So, depende rin sa strategy natin as a teacher. Okay, so, yung iba naman is, yun, chine-check muna or kino-collect na. Okay, so, as we can see here, arrange from the highest to lowest. So, this yellow parts is the highest students, the students who got the highest, while the red parts is the students who got the lowest. So, this is the example of arranging the test score from highest to lowest. So, in item analysis class, we're going to use the highest and the lowest. We're not going to use the middle or the middle parts or the middle students na nakakuha ng scores. Okay, so for the next step is separate the 25% highest and the 25% lowest. So as we can see here, class, na kumbaga sa total ng students sa isang class, so kukunin mo yung 25% na nakakuha ng highest. So for example, in this na the yellow parts is yan yung 25% na nakakuha, while the red parts is yan yung 25% na nakakuha ng lowest. Okay, so number 4 is construct an item analysis table. Okay, so these are the example class of an item analysis table. Okay, so for example, this is an item number 1. So in item number 1, this is the questions. For example lang yan, then which level of management is responsible, blah blah blah. So for example, here is the answer is the letter C. All of the takers, tatlo yung nag-answer ng letter E, 6 yung nakatama, while 10 yung sumagot ng D, which is the total takers or the student who take that test is 19. So the step 2, we get the upper group or the student who got the highest, then it's only 3, while the lower is 0. Remember, that's the 25% of the takers. And then pag nagawa niyang item analysis table, we will proceed with the item analysis evaluations. Kumbaga, ito na yung process mismo ng pag-evaluate ng test. Kumbaga, na-collect mo na siya sa mga students, i-analyze mo na siya or evaluate. So, in item analysis, there are 2 parts, which is the item difficulty and discrimination items. Okay, so we will discuss this through types of analysis and two process evaluating the item analysis. Okay, so let's go first with the item difficulty. So what is item difficulty? We have here the definition, which is the measure of the proportion of the examinees who answered the item correctly. So, in item difficulty, we have here the formula. So, ito yung formula na gagamitin natin para sinusolve natin yung pagkuha ng item difficulty. Yes, so parang math na tayo ngayon. So, kumbaga, tandaan lang itong formula dahil yan ang gagamitin sa pag-solve or pagkuha ng item difficulty. Okay, so item difficulty is equals to the number of students with the correct answers over or divided by to the total of the takers. Okay, so in this given, what I get example is what yung kanina dito. Ito. Okay, so as we can see, okay, so let's go first with the formula. Our formula is the number of the students with the correct answer. So, tingnan natin dito yung number of students na nakakuha ng correct answer. So, as we can see, there are all of the takers, as you can see here. All of the takers, and then, nakakuha ay 6. Since, assuming that the answer is the letter C, so 6. The total of takers is 19. So, substitute lang siya sa ating formula. So, number of students with the correct answer, which is the 6. Like what, yung nandun sa given example natin, yung 6 yung got the correct answer, while the total of the takers is 19. So, simply divide, use the formula, divide that to, okay, so 6 divided by 19 is equals to 0.2. Okay, so, pag nakuha natin yan, means yan yung item difficulty. Okay, so what's the next process? Kung makuha natin yan, ano yung susunod? So, let's proceed with the next process or steps. Before that, ito siya class is given na to siya. Pag every time ma-solve natin yung item difficulty, pag nakuha na natin yung item difficulty, dito lang natin siya titingnan. As you can see here, class, ito yung range of difficulty items. For example, kung nakuha mong result is 0.25, and then ito yung description or interpret niya, which means the item is difficult, and then the action that you need to do as a teacher is to revise that test questionnaire. Kumbaga, kailangan siyang i-revise kasi may mali doon sa question yun. Kung ang kung ang result mo naman ay 0.26 to 0.75 means write difficult or retain. Retain means remain. Pwede mo pa siyang, that means that items pwede mo pa siyang isama. And then 0.76 and above means the question is very easy, which is kailangan i-revise or palitan. Okay, so yung sagot natin kanina dito is, okay, so 0.32. So let's take a look. Okay, so asan na belong yung 0.32? Nandito siya, class, right? Yes, so 0.32 means write difficulty or retain. So means that items is retain siya, or pwede mo pa siyang isali sa next na gagawa ka ng isang question, or okay lang siya, wala siyang as in mali. Okay, so that's for the item analysis. So again, item analysis, divide lang siya sa number of students who get the correct answer divided to the total of the takers. Then pag nakuha mo na siya yung result, dito ka lang magbabase para makita mo siya kung ano yung interpret niya, kung difficult ba siya, easy, or right difficult, kung i-revise, kung i-retain, or kung discard. Okay, so let's proceed with the discrimination power or item. With the definition, it measures how well an item able to distinguish between the examinees who are in the upper and those who are in the lower. Okay, so we have also here the formula. Okay, so here, class. Okay, so discrimination power or item, ito yung formula niya, class. Difficulty upper minus the difficulty lower. Difficulty upper, ito yung sa upper. So, before natin to ma-minus, kailangan muna natin kunin yung, so, bago natin ma-process yung discrimination power is, kailangan muna natin isolve yung DU at saka DL, or the upper and the lower. So, para makuha natin yung difficulty upper formula is, ito siya class, i-divide yung total number of correct answer in upper and the total number of students in upper, lower group rather. Lower ni siya class. Kay upper man siya og lower. So, correction lang class, lower ni siya ha. Okay, so, i-divide siya. So, as we can see in the example kanina, yun din yung ginamit natin. Okay, so, total correct answer in the upper. Ilan? So, correct answer is 3, right? Kasi tatlo lang yung sumagot. And then, the total of the lower is 2. Okay, so for the difficulty lower, formula is, meron din siyang formula, the total number of correct answer in a lower divided by the total number of the student lower. So, to clearly understand, let's give an example. Okay, so, bago tayo ma-process the discrimination power, the step 1 is find the DU. Okay, so, 3 divided by 5. Why? Because 3 divided by 5 means 3 is the correct, who got the correct answer? Ito siya. Like what I've said, tatlo lang, and then divided by 5, which is the total takers rather. Okay, so 3 divided by 5 is equals to 0.6. So you can see the formula class na total number of the correct answer upper, total number of the lower. Okay, so 0.6 yung discrimination upper, while the lower is 0 divided by 5. As we can see in the formula class na, difficulty lower is the total number of correct answer in a lower. Oh, as we can see class, walang naka-correct, 0. And then, total numbers of the students in a lower group, which is 5. Okay, so let's see. 6. As you can see here, 6. Okay, so 5 rather. Okay, so 0 divided by 5 kasi nandito siya class. 0 divided by the total takers, which is the 5. Okay, so 0 divided by 5 is equals to 0. And then, tsaka na tayo makaka-proceed sa discrimination power natin, which is nakita naman natin yung formula, which is DU minus DL. So, pag nakuha na natin yung DU, i-minus lang natin siya sa DL. Then, the result is the discrimination power. So, as we can see, nakuha natin kanina is 0.6, which is the DU. Then, ayan, i-substitute lang natin. And then, nakuha natin kanina dito ay 0, which means 0.6 minus 0, that is equal to positive 0.6. So, paano naman natin siya malalaman? So, like kanina, mayroon din siyang interpretive table, or ito yung magsasabi, or given na din to siya, yung dalawang box class given na siya. So, ito yung box na magsasabi kung nasaan siya na belong. So, answer natin kanina is 0.6, right? Okay, so 0.6 class, asan siya na belong? So, as you can see, positive siya, which is dito negative, dito negative, dito is negative 55 to positive 0.45. So, which means, dyan lang na belong si 0.6. Okay, so, therefore, ang final answer natin na 0.6 is non-discriminating. So, nandito siya class, which is, kailangan pa rin i-revise. Kailangan pa rin siyang i-revise kasi kumbaga may, although tama, medyo okay siya sa una, sa difficulty index, kailangan pa rin siyang i-revise since hindi siya naano sa discrimination power. So, kumbaga, revise lang siya, kumbaga konti lang yung i-change. So that's for the discrimination power. So actually class, nakakalito lang siyang explain kasi through visual tayo, through online tayo ngayon. So as we can see, mahirap talaga siyang explain, pero kung sa face to face lang or sa actual na class is madali lang to siyang maintindihan class, kasi as long as you memorize the formula of the item difficulty, discrimination power, and then mag-base ka lang doon sa itong mga interpret table, kasi dyan lang mag-base, dyan natin titingnan kung asan siya na-belong. So that's for the discrimination power. Okay, so tapos na yung lesson. So let's have a quick sum up. Okay, so we tackle is the item analysis, which is to means to examine the test, to see the effectiveness of the test, and enhance the skills of the both students and the instructor. Item analysis is a process of analyzing the test to have an improvement, or to eliminate the misleading, or improve the questions, so on and so forth. So that's for the item analysis. So benefits of the item analysis, yun nga. Okay, so for the benefits, yun nga, to see the effectiveness of the test, improve the test, eliminate those misleading, increase skills of the teacher and the students. And then item difficulty formula, like what I've said, number of students who get the correct answer over the total number of the takers. And then for the discrimination formula is, before that, mag-base tayo doon sa interpretive table. Okay, so for the discrimination power, which is du minus dl, which is kailangan muna natin kunin yung du at saka dl bago natin na-solve si discrimination items. Okay, so that's all for my parts, and then it will be continued by Miss Dela Torre, which is the validations. She will tackle about the validation. So that's all for my parts. Thank you so much for listening. So do you have any questions? If none, so thank you so much for listening. Goodbye, class.
This is the continuation report of Ms. Rondato. Chapter 6, Item Analysis and Validation. What is item analysis and validation? This is an item analysis. It is a process which examines students' response to individual test items, like questions. In order to assess the quality of these items and of the test as a whole, the purpose of validation to determine the characteristics of the whole test if the students are validate to the test para ma-check sa teacher kung ang estudyante ay may mga mali sa sinagutan niya para mas ma-enhance pa yung learning ng isang estudyante. After performing the item analysis and revising the items which need revision, the next steps is to validate the instrument. The teachers normally prepare a draft of the test. First, the teachers tries out the draft test to a group of students. From the tryout group, the teacher will analyze between those who knows and those who do not know. And the teacher decide whether to revise an item. Pag nahihirapan ang estudyante, kailangan revise or replace ng items para hindi sila mahirapan magsagot at para na rin hindi makakaapekto sa grading system ng students. Next is validity. What is validity? Validity extends to which a test measures what it purports to measure as referring the appropriateness, correctness, meaningfulness, and usefulness of the specific decisions a teacher makes based on the test results. For example of this is a mathematics teacher develops end of semester algebra test for her class. Ang coverage ng test or exam, every form of algebra na ituro sa klase, if parang may mga hindi maintindihan at nalilito ang students dahil some types of algebra are left out. Then ang magiging resulta ng students understanding of this subject is accurate. Mas mababa ang score na kanilang makukuha if the teachers includes questions that are similar or related to algebra. Ang magiging resulta is good, nakapasa ang lahat. Well, and the teacher analyzed that the students are studying well and listening to their discussion. Dito ma-check ng isang guro ang understanding of a students based on the result of the test questions or exams. There are essentially three main types of evidence that may be connected. First is connected related evidence of validity. Refers to the content and format of instruments. Assesses whether a test is cover all the aspects of a content and format of the lesson, and the related evidence of validity if the test may be used to predict those specific behaviors or attitudes of a students if they are behave in a class and listening well. That was the evidence of a teacher. Second is criterion-related evidence of validity. It refers to a relationship between scores obtained using the instrument and scores obtained using one or more other tests, often called criterion. Dito naman sa criterion-related evidence of validity, sa pag-evaluate ng teacher sa mga scores ng students, parang nakumpara niya yung score ng isa sa students sa other classmate niya or performance niya. Na score parang ang mangyayari if the teacher will balikan yung mga lessons niya dahil hindi na-match yung knowledge ng bata sa discussion ng teacher para mas malinaw at maintindihan ng students is ay balikan ang nakaraang discussion at ipaliwanag ang question sa test paper kung saan mali ang pagsagot ng bata para ma-enhance ang learning para kung magpapatis ulit si teacher ay papasa ang lahat ng students. And the third one is construct-related evidence of validity. It refers to the nature of the psychological construct or characteristic being measured by the test. An example of this is a measurement of the students in their psychological construct such as intelligence, level of emotion, proficiency, or ability. Some example of this is nahihirapan sila umintindi sa questions or nahihirapan sila magbasa. It is the language proficiency of a child. Para mawala ang ganitong characteristic ng isang bata, ay mas lalo silang humasa sa pagbabasa, turuan silang magbasa at sa mga bagay-bagay na hindi pa nila alam. In order to obtain evidence of criterion-related validity, the teacher usually compares scores on the test and questions with the scores on some other independent criterion test, which presumably has already high validity. For example, if a test designed to measure mathematics ability of students and it correlates highly with a standardized mathematics achievement test, external criterion, then we have high criterion-related evidence of validity. In particular, this type of criterion-related validity is called concrete validity. In summary, content validity refers how well the test reflect the knowledge actually required for a given topic area. Example, math. It requires the use of recognized subject matter experts to evaluate whether test items assesses defined outcomes. Criterion-related validity is also known as concrete validity because criterion validity refers to a test correlation with a concrete outcome. The outcome of this is gi-compare ng teacher ang test score ng student niya sa performance na nakukuha rin ng students. In other words, there should be a positive correlation between test score and performance score. Para pag i-calculate ng teacher is hindi mababa ang result na nakukuha ng students. There are two main types of criterion validity. First is validity refers to a comparison between the measuring questions and an outcome assessed at the same time. It also a type of criterion validity if you are a teacher, create some type of test. You want to make sure it is valid a way of doing it. While the concurrent validity, how well a new test compare to an well-established test. It can also refer to the practice of concurrently testing to groups at the same time or asking groups of people to take the same test. And the second one is predictive validity. It tells us how well a certain measure can predict future behavior. One of the most common used for predictive validity is in university admission. Grade point average, GPA, SASI, or CET scores and other criterion are used to predict students' likely success in higher education. That's all and thank you.